They run up, but they're really slow when it comes to making it through this corridor because the water slows them down. Welcome, Survivor. Welcome back to some more 7 Days to Die, and we are in Alpha 18, and what you're looking at is the old Barbed Wire XP corridor, which was really useful in Alpha 17. So why am I showing this? Well, it's actually to sort of build up the story here, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. I am going to transition for this one into something that does work in Alpha 18, but I wanted to give a bit of the background. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you are subscribed. Hit that subscribe button if you aren't. And of course, the like button. Follow me on Discord. Follow me on Twitter. But anyway, the general XP base or XP farm or XP barbed wire usually was very similar. You had a ramp up. You had a path that the zombies would walk, you had barbed wire on the side, and you had some block, usually the pole, that would sort of push the zombies slightly away so that they wouldn't damage the barbed wire. This means that the barbed wire only took damage if they happened to bash it or there were cop explosions. And that's really important because it means they can last a really long time. You could do whole hordes there, and if you have been watching my Let's Plays, you would have seen that I've used this one just to farm experience because it's really good. Farming experience is not that important in Alpha 18, but let me show you how it works actually. So I'm going to spawn in. Let me do a cheerleader here. And she walks up or runs up, and you see she's being slowed by the barbed wire. So she runs up, and I think she might go around here because that's how she changes her pathing. No, she doesn't. She obediently falls down, and she might rage and everything a little bit, but ultimately she will go back and start over the journey, and that's assuming you didn't kill her. See, that's what she does. She'll come up again, and they will just loop and loop and loop and loop, and that's basically gives you a lot of time, so you can just kill them. If you have a lot of them, let's do the not so smart thing and just bring in a bunch of them and see whether this still works. I think some might go around and start pummeling me. I'm in God mode, so it doesn't really matter. They're all getting stuck because there are too many. But you see, it works really well. You can just stand here, just shoot them, get the experience, and you'll be really happy, right? That's how these bases really worked. And it was really efficient in Alpha 17 because it was sort of a never-ending loop. They would run up, they might damage a little bit here, they might damage a little bit down here when they rage, but ultimately they would go back and, well, they restart and you just continue shooting them. So why don't we do this in Alpha 18? And that's a really good question. So the problem with that is that if we try to craft the barbed wire, we quickly notice that quiet ladies, quiet a little bit. You can't actually craft the barbed wire anymore. You can do the barbed wire fence, but those ones definitely don't work because they take up the block space. So what this means is that all these ends up being taken away. So if we take out this one, everything falls down, and I restart the area, and you'll see that, except that they walk past me, they don't get stopped. They will run here really fast, and that makes it really difficult if you want to, say, melee them and everything, because you just can't keep up as well. And that's really not what you want to have happen. So the barbed wire XP corridor no longer works, unfortunately. You can't use the barbed wire, so you can't slow them down, which gives you insufficient time to kill them effectively, especially if there's a lot of hordes. So why can't we craft the barbed wire anymore? I think that in a nutshell, the Fun Pimps decided that nope, we were using it in a way that it was not intended, they didn't like it, and I think we should be fighting them on a bit more equal terms. So they decided, instead of fixing it in a good way so we could keep using them somehow, they decided to just remove them because, of course, barbed wire shouldn't be slowing down zombies. No, I'm just kidding. Of course it should be, because that's the whole point of barbed wire. Anyway, so you can't use them. But there are other things we can use, and I actually used something else in Alpha 17 as well. It's a little bit more tedious because, well, water is a pain to move around and deploy, and you have to do a lot of it, but it actually works really well. So I'm going to show you how this base works with water instead. It's a very similar setup actually. You have a ramp up here. Oh, thank you very much for obliging here. You have a ramp up here, and the player will be walking on the zombie area. You get into the water, and in the water you're slowing down. You'll see he slows down, and let me see if I can get up here. He comes up here and he falls down. Well, thank you, that's very kind of him. And because he fell down, he will come back again, and he will be here instead. So he'll be doing this again, and you'll see that his head is bobbing there, and he's slowed down, and you get a lot of time that you can actually shoot him. And the same would work if they're running, it's just not as efficient. So with this basic setup, how does it work if you just spawn in a bunch of them? So let's get some of these cheerleaders then. Ladies, come on. Yeah. Hopefully you can hear me. A little bit too far. Let's motivate them a little bit. Yeah, that's good. I'm here, ladies, and I'll run up. You see they're really slowed down, and they will be coming up here. They'll take a swing, and they will hopefully fall down. Yep. Keep falling down. Now, one problem that you realize that you don't want to stand so close, and if you stand further back, well, some of them will just make it across. And hold on, ladies. That's exactly what we need to fix. So this is something that I saw happening more in Alpha 18 than Alpha 17. You have to have some way of blocking them so they don't just run across it, because they do seem to pat even on the side. So putting something like this, and let's get rid of her, generally works really well. So let's restart the AI. They come up here and they get pushed into, you see they get pushed in because they can't run on the side, and they will pretty much always fall down. Now, one issue that you might run into is that if you can't see where they are, but with this build that I have a pole here, and I have this one here, and that seems to mean that the water, well, gets to, well, you can actually see underneath the water. And why is that important? Is because, well, obviously if you want to shoot them, you want to be able to see them. So if I take out these blocks, right, okay, bit better. Got rid of all these ones for the moment. So with the pole here, it holds the water back, but it still seems to sort of go across here and want to touch up against this. And because there's a block, it's going to be fully straight, and that means that you can literally stand here and just shoot all the zombies as they come in. And that's really powerful, and we're going to just show you. Let me just do not 25. Let's just do a few like this. Come up, ladies. And because this is about 10 long, and you see they're really much slower, and that gives you a lot of time that you can just try and get some headshots here. And if you do miss them and you don't get them, well, they'll just walk up here and they'll fall down. And that's what you want, because they're slow and then they fall down. Now there will be a little bit of damage, and let's see here. Now they come again. Now the headshot missed. Oh, that one actually managed to hit anyway. And some damage will be taken here because they do aggro and want to do this sort of last rage bash as they come up. Nope, not that one. And they might sometimes just bash somewhere else, but in general they will continue to do that. And if you want to hit them with melee, that works really well as well. But this is easy. This is just against random ones. If I had a screamer here, they would be coming and they would be screaming. So let's look at how does this work against the Blood Moon Horde. So let's have a look here. We are now game stage 525. So it's a really late game. I have 16 concurrent zombies, and we are day, well, 300. So we'll see how this one turns out. I think that the demolition or demolisher zombies might be a bit of an issue. We will see, but they'll be hopefully spawning in here somewhere. Yep, there they come from here, and they should, if all goes as expected, yep, they should be running up here and they slowly make their way. You see they get slowed down, which is exactly what we want. And potentially cops might be an issue because they'll spit. I know if they explode, it could actually take out some of the water blocks. Now, because I'm in God mode, it makes less of an issue, so I can just stand here and just observe. But you see, they run here really fast. They run up, but they're really slow when it comes to making it through this corridor because the water slows them down. So why these ones are going over there, I have no idea. Oh, they're taking out the tree. Yeah, that's vandals. But you see, oh, a spider made it in. Hold on, I guess I... Come on, please don't do that. So they will be making their way up here slowly, but it's a really good place to just stand and shoot them. And if you have less than 16 concurrent, it's even less of an issue because they just move so slowly. Of course, I have armor piercing here, which of course helps, but you want to make sure that you take care of at least the cops so they don't explode. If you do get demolishers, then good luck to you. Those ones are going to be causing an issue either way. But you see, because everything is really slow, so you could conceivably just stand here all night and just take them out. And of course, if you want to go full auto, you can do that as well. If you have an M60, that will work really, really well. But because of these ones, and they might take a little bit of damage, they won't be actually making it through. They will be running and they'll be falling down. And if you wanna just do this, do some melee, you could as well. It's actually really effective as well, especially if you have a sledgehammer. If you have a spear, I think you have a little bit more of reach as well. But you see, it works really, really well. If you have the knockdown, the multi-knockdown, you can just stand here and knock all of them down. And, you want to make sure you don't fall down here, because that's a bit of an issue. Fortunately, I can just cheat a little bit and go in here. I do have a ladder either way. But it's a really good way of just taking care of the zombies. Stand here. Of course, reload. They might do some damage on the side here because I fell down, and they're like, no, I want to get out of here. But otherwise, just stand here and go to town. You see that the zombies, I think they're spitting from the bottom as well. I think they can see through the gap here. So you do have to do some repairs here, especially if you have this high game stage and these many zombies. You do have to do some repairs just to make sure that things don't break out. But beyond that, stand here. Get some headshots. If you have spec'd up your skills, getting headshots is fairly easy as well. And you just take them out. So at this stage, ammo probably is not a major issue because nitrate and coal is really readily available. And using armor-piercing bullets, you can also take care of the soldiers and the cops and anything else that comes through. Once in a while, they might make it through, especially if you stand sort of too far behind, because they might stand here and then run, and they could make it across. It's really rare. You could avoid that by just putting in out of these ones here, such as, let me do that. Yeah. They're noisy, but they're not too bad. So you could do something like this and something like this, and it should work just fine. Then they won't be able to dash over here the same way. But yeah, otherwise this is the general gist of it. So you can do this the whole night, and you see I've been having quite a few of them. Let's pause a little bit here. And you see there is some damage on these blocks because that's where they bash when they get annoyed. There is a little bit here from vomit. There's a little bit here from bashing. But again, I've tripled this up multiple, so they won't be able to take them. Even if they break out 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, or probably all except maybe 1, it would just be fine. Here you see there's no damage whatsoever. Up here might be a little bit because they could come up here and sort of get overcrowded. Here you see just a little bit, and some of it could be from me shooting and missing. There's going to be some loot as well. These ones might take some damage because of sort of they're trying to get across. You could probably mitigate that by having sort of these wedges that sort of gradually moving up as well, and just making this one slightly longer to accommodate. Not a major issue. And of course these ones, they take damage as well. But in short, this is a really powerful way of just making a horde base, and you could use this for screamer farming as well. Just get that experience because they'll call in more people. Everyone will be running here. Slow down, and of course you could just stand there and shoot them as well. Because I might be out of ammo. So make sure you have your melee weapon as well. So what do you think? Would you do something like this in Alpha 18? Or are you tired of all these XP corridors? I personally would probably do this just for the fun of it, because who doesn't like to just stand here with a sledgehammer and bashing them as they come in. But of course, as a regular base, it is kind of boring. There are a lot more interesting ways to make your bases, but it does serve to highlight a little bit that even as the fun pimps change and remove things, they remove the barbed wire, there are still ways around it. We will find other ways to accomplish our objectives, and the next thing might be that they will be removing water, so we can't do that either. And this guy, he's probably the most irritating there, because if he starts exploding, we have massive problems. Fortunately, he'll fall down as well, so you can just ignore him for now. So message to the fun pimps, please stop removing these things. I mean, if you remove water now, well, of course you could, and then we can even make these ones, but ultimately it's a losing proposition. Let us make our bases. People who want to do this can do this. People who don't want to do it aren't going to be doing it. It shouldn't make you any difference how people play. But make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. You really want to see more of my base builds. Some of these base builds is just to show how the AI operates. They're not necessarily meant for you to make your final game or end game bases. I will be doing some of those as well. But until then, stay tuned. Check out the next one. And oops, he exploded. Oh, and he exploded. And oh, all this damage. Oh, one of the nice things though, which actually I didn't know until now, is that it looks like the explosions doesn't take out the water blocks anymore, which is really good because that was a major issue last time. In Alpha 17, I think earlier, if the cops exploded or vomited, they could take out the water, which was really weird. But that would ruin this whole thing because all of a sudden you didn't have any water here, so they wouldn't be slowed down and then you have to replace it. And he's gonna explode. Boom. Well, until next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the vetted community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.